So Nikki Bella is officially the longest reigning Divas Champion of all time at 1,248 days, made official by Stephanie McMahon, meaning AJ was never Divas Champion to begin with. So we can all just forget that ever happened, just like we can forget that his career ever happened. He was way better in TNA anyway. But Nikki Bella has now made history, and she's made the Divas title more relevant than it's ever been. As much as people try to lie to themselves about how they don't care about the record and the title is worthless, the fact is, while Nikki was champion, more people talked about the title than ever before. They paid closer attention to the records and the history. They couldn't go one day without complaining about it. They wrote novels about what it meant to have Nikki break the record. The one thing that nobody did was completely ignore it. That's because everybody was emotionally invested in some way, whether they want to admit it or not. That's why it was such a sensitive topic that got an emotional response out of people every single time that it was brought up. The thing smarks try to do to disguise the fact that they're emotionally invested in something is they'll say it's X-Pac heat, which doesn't really exist. At its core, what are they pissed off about? That someone they don't like is in the spotlight over someone that they do like. That's no different than the casual fan who hates the heel for doing bad things and wants their favorite babyface to save the day. It doesn't matter if they're complaining about storyline reasons or insider reasons. It's the exact same emotional response either way. In fact, it's even stronger in the case of smarks, where they care that much more about it to where it almost affects their personal lives. So at the end of the day, all smarks are just marks. So Nikki Bella made the Divas title relevant again. In fact, that first match she had with Charlotte on the night she broke the record was the most significant Divas Championship match of all time. So Nikki Bella made a lot of history with her title reign, and at the end of the day, she will go down as the greatest Divas Champion of all freaking time. So now Charlotte is a champion, and I think it was a mistake to do it this early. For one, Nikki still had a lot more potential as champion, and Charlotte's potential dramatically dropped because she won the title this soon. There was no struggle, there was no time to invest in Charlotte or her road to the title. That's why she's not as over as the other divas and why her reign is suffering. Especially now because fans are more invested in Sasha Banks, so that could potentially hurt Charlotte's reign that much more. The longer that she holds on to the title instead of Sasha, fans might start to turn on her because they never asked for Charlotte in the first place the way they're asking for Sasha Banks. When you really think about it, this is kind of the same position that Roman Reigns was in when he won the Royal Rumble this year. It was way too soon. They should have gave Charlotte more time to develop, so that way fans would have wanted her to become champion. So what I think should happen is Nikki Bella should win her championship back at Hell in a Cell so she can continue breaking records and solidifying herself as the greatest Divas champion in the history of time. And this way, it builds sympathy for Charlotte. She was on top of the world, but she just couldn't stay there for very long. So now, fans will be invested in watching her work her way back up to try to prove that she's not just a fluke. That way, when she does win the title again, it'll feel like she earned it this time, and fans will have been invested in her road to the title this time. Meanwhile, Divas champion Nikki Bella can go on to have a classic rivalry with Sasha Banks for the title that will be filled with 5-star classics, which is what they should have done in the first place. They were building that feud up from the moment that the NXT Divas debuted, so if they don't go through with that feud, it's going to be a wasted opportunity. But that just about does it for this week. I apologize for this very AJ lead, I mean half-assed review. I was going to cover everything from the last month, but it's been a pretty busy week, and I have to get ready for Heck in a Cell live in LA next week, so I'll make it up next week. If you guys have any questions about any recent events that took place in the last 2 or 3 months that you want me to talk about, leave it in the comments below and it will be answered in next week's Q&A. Anyway, this has been MTO with the MTO More Reviews saying yada yada yada, blah blah blah, 301 forever.